I try my best to put myself into everything I create, a fun and happy vibe just based on positivity. And it's been this way since starting Minerva. I've always followed my intuition, even though I wasn't completely understanding why I was doing it or the purpose I was feeling behind it. I started with simply building fun products, not really being able to explain it. I made physically interactive things with the basic intention of sparking interest and enjoyment within anybody who engaged it. It didn't always turn out spectacular and was often quite ridiculous, but I knew if I followed my intuition I would end up in the right place. And it paid off. Over time I realised I would like to be a toy designer, and even work for LEGO in Denmark, where I gained serious knowledge to help me in the real world. Since then, my primary focus was making playful products for all ages with an emphasis on creative fun. I improved my style and figured out more of what it takes to achieve the reactions I was hoping for with my designs. But it wasn't until I looked at my other passions like painting and performing that I believe I realised fully what I was about and the energy I related to in design. I like to question the rules and go against the normal as a kind of sabotage. It's a liberating way to show people a new perspective and rethink their habits. This year I was happy with the idea that we could work on anything we wanted with complete freedom. So I went with evoking positive emotion through dehabituation, which is a fancy way of saying making people have fun with stuff they've never seen before. This is how I started my designs this year, based on a concept called habituation. Habituation basically means doing something so often that it becomes automatic, without thinking. I'm not a big fan of being mindless. I prefer to live outside the box. So I started building, thinking how I can question the rules, thinking absurdly and making crazy combinations people would have never possibly thought about before. But even though my designs were kind of nice, like noodle speakers and a completely new way to tell the time, these just seemed very random and unconnected. I didn't really have much of a purpose or solid plan. Then coronavirus happened, and wasn't necessarily a bad thing for me from a design perspective. It was a lesson that we're not always in control and things are constantly changing. And it also helped me learn that design is based on our environment and what we have. But as long as I can learn to adapt and use what is around, then I'll be fine. The one material I had in abundance was toilet paper, so I wanted to work with it and ended up finding a way to turn it into anything I wanted. After experimenting with the ingredients, it became a mixture of paper, water, flour, salt, and paint. It takes about 1 day to dry, but after it's rock solid. The texture is something similar to chalk, but much stronger. Think of it as a sculptable wood. I think maybe I've created a new material. We don't normally think of paper and flour being used to sculpt or create, which is why I think this is so nice. It's also sustainable, super enjoyable to make, and it can be any color and shape you want. It falls apart after getting wet, but I haven't figured that as an advantage or disadvantage yet. When I realized I achieved exactly what I wanted at the start of the year, I was quite proud. I created a product by thinking outside the box and challenging the rules, which is based on creative fun where the only limit is your imagination. I don't want you to see any one object that I have made as my graduation design, but rather the material itself, the process of making it, and the possibilities that lie within it. The whole point of my project was to do things that aren't normally thought of, so everything I was doing was new, which was certainly the most challenging part of this, but in general, I enjoyed it and learned many lessons that I would consider very valuable, like learning how to adapt, always follow my intuition, research and experimenting has a great purpose, designing is a journey and there will always be difficulties, and of course, to have fun. Thanks so much for watching.